Hi, welcome back to Structured Product Management Thinking. My name is Kurt Van Etten, and we are going to talk about high-level design. We are going to dip our toe into the solution space. And why are we going to do that at this point? This is because our next step is going to be to put together a business case so we can get resources. So we've already done a lot of the groundwork for a business case. We have done our ecosystem analysis, we've looked at our customers, we've looked at our competitors, and we've looked at our company, but there's still a couple pieces missing for someone to open up their wallet and invest in our project. And that is, we need a vision. We need a product vision or a solution vision, and we need to get a little more detail and some estimates about, hey, what would that look like? Potentially, how much would it cost? How much time? And so we do need to dip our toe into that solution space and come up with a high-level design. And so at this point, we're going to bring up a big mantra of mine, which is a use case a day keeps the churn away. There is a potential for a lot of churn at this point in the process, and I've seen things go very nebulous and a lot of discussions happening back and forth between the product manager and the UX designer and the engineers and back to the customer, and we're not really clear about what our vision is. And we need to document it in a very clear and concise way so we can get that cross-functional team engaged. And the way we're going to do that is by writing use cases. So use cases was really made popular by Alistair Cockburn when he wrote the book called Writing Effective Use Cases, which I encourage everyone to buy and every product manager should have on their shelf. And frankly, this has become a lost art because agile methodologies does not call for the writing of use cases, and I've seen that to the detriment of the industry. Because when we write out our happy path use cases, we're going to use that to help the UX team write out their wireframes, and then we're going to socialize it broadly across the cross-functional team, and now we're going to have a key input for our business case. What is a use case? Well, the definition is just really specific, a business objective that a user is trying to accomplish. We're going to have many parts of this use case, and we're going to go through these in detail. They're actors. Actors have goals. Actors are going to go through scenarios or steps, and then they're going to end up in the scenario end, and that can be a success condition or that could be a failure condition. So what's an actor? Well, an actor can be a person or a system. You can write your use case as just the user. If you want to be more specific about the user, it can be the server admin, the model admin, the customer support agent. These are typically what you find as actors in use cases, but it can be a system, and I think this gets lost on a lot of product managers, that you can write a use case and it can just say the system, or again, you can be more specific, the Elastic service, the Salesforce service. These are all actors that you can employ when you're writing use cases. Okay, so now there's use case goals, and that's the thing they're actually trying to achieve. And the best practice here is to write it with a to in front of it, to make very clear that if you read it and you put the word TO in front of it, does it make sense? To view a user table, to make a payment, to edit a username, to delete a resource, these are all examples of use cases. And then the scenario is the interactions that's going to happen between the actors and other actors to achieve that use case goal. Okay, so that's a lot, but let's just jump right into an example. And here's a short form example. So I'm going to write a use case that says, hey, we're going to view customer support tickets. I'm working on a customer support system, and I'll say the primary actor is my customer support representative. The scope is the customer support ticketing system. And there's some preconditions. We need to let everyone know where we're starting in the process. And so we have preconditions. The customer support representative is logged into the system, and the representative has the appropriate permissions to view the tickets. And the post condition is the representative successfully viewed the table of support tickets with all the relevant details. So now we go into the scenario. The customer support rep navigates to tickets on the tab dashboard. The system retrieves and displays a list of open tickets in table format, sorted by priority, and then you can see the columns are listed here: ticket ID, customer name, issue type, priority status. The representative can then filter the tickets by high priority, The table updates and shows only high priority tickets, and the representative can click on a specific ticket and view the information. The system then navigates to the ticket detail view, displaying all relevant information. So now you can see there's a very clear interaction between the user and the system. And this is so powerful, right? Because immediately when you go through this, you are going to get all kinds of questions from an engineer perspective. Okay, you said the default order is by priority. I got that. How many entries do we expect? How many entries do you expect on a page, on a mobile phone? Do we need to think about pagination? What is all the particular values for issue type is a question you're going to get from the UX designer. So all these questions are going to come out at this part of the process, very early in the process. And why that's so important is A, you're getting the interaction, but B, it's going to help you write really good concrete user stories later, because all those questions have been identified up front and you've went and got the answers back. And when you go to write your user stories, you have them right there in your back pocket, and all this churn is going to get reduced. So this is such a powerful tool. I can't emphasize this enough, that when you're starting your high-level design, you want to sit down and write maybe 5 or 6 happy path use cases. You don't have to cover the whole scope of it. It's just a high-level design, but it gets everyone engaged to understand the user, what you're trying to accomplish, and allows everyone to provide feedback. So a lot of you are looking at this and going, oh my God, that's really detailed. That's a lot of work. I don't have time for that. Well, the good news is we have a partner that can help us with that called Generative AI. So I'm going to bring up a Generative AI window here. And again, I'm using ChatGPT, and I'm going to put in a prompt. As a product manager, I would like to write a happy path use case using Alistair Cockburn format. The name of the case is to find a physician. The actor is the patient. The patient would like to search by distance, specialty, accepting new patients, and insurance accepted. And then I'm going to get the results of that. And you can see it's going to give you the long form of the Alistair Cockburn format for those who want to go get the book. And it's going to go through, identify the use case name, the scope, the level, the primary actors, the preconditions, the minimal guarantees and success criteria, and the trigger. And you can see here, it's already given you an outline of your use case and giving you even more suggestions and more detail. So it's saying, hey, the patient can specify a radius. We need to think about what are the values of the specialty, cardiology, dermatology. Can the patient select yes or no? Can the insurance? These are all great things. It's actually giving you hints for more things to think about, in addition to just giving you an outline. There's also extensions. So these extensions will become user stories when you actually go write user stories for execution. But again, it's giving you hints about, hey, let's think about these other user stories you're going to write about in the future. So what happens if the patient does not specify all the criteria? What happens if no physician matches the criteria? What if a patient wants to modify the search? Right? So this is really helpful. Again, just trying to get you jump started, get you 80% there, and give you things to think about. I love the special requirements. These are called non-functional requirements that you're also going to need to list when you write user stories as part of your acceptance criteria. So what's the expectation for the results? Is it within 2 seconds? Is it within 2 milliseconds? And all these different types of things. And so this is really, really useful way to leverage generative AI. So this is a really powerful way to leverage generative AI tools to help you get the framework for your use case, and also help you think about all the exception criteria, non-functional requirements, and all the things that you're going to need to write good user stories later. Okay, so you're going to create those small set of happy path use cases. You're going to leverage generative AI. You're going to think about it. You're going to modify those. And so now you're going to take those happy path use cases, and you're going to work in conjunction with your UX designer. And again, the UX designer and the engineer and potentially your data scientists have already been along with you in this journey during discovery. So they already have a pretty good understanding of the user. They probably have a pretty good understanding of the problems we're trying to solve. And now they're actually breaking out the pen and paper to start putting things down and for a solution. And what you want to do in this phase is have them just do low fidelity wireframes. And low fidelity can be, they can sketch something on paper by hand. They can do wireframing. There's tools like Balsamiq, Figma, Sketch. They can all do low fidelity wireframes. So now you're asking why low fidelity? Because you're doing high level design, and more than likely you're going to present this to your cross-functional team, and very likely you're going to present this to executives when you're doing your business case. And if you go straight to high fidelity, A, you're setting yourself up for a lot of churn, and B, you're also setting yourself up for a lot of irrelevant questions, because I've seen people go straight to high fidelity and an executive is going to start asking questions about color schemes and things that really are not important at this point in the process, right? You're just trying to give them an understanding of what's a use case and what potentially it could look like. So the next step of this high-level design phase is to take your use cases, take your wireframes, and socialize this as broadly as possible in your organization. So as we mentioned before, your team roster, certainly you're going to socialize it with your Scrum team or your pod that's going to do the execution. But again, socialize it broadly. Socialize it with customer support, product marketing, professional service, sales, engineering, information security. All those people that have a say in the product, you want to let them know what you're doing, what you're thinking about them, and give them the opportunity to provide feedback. I encourage you to do this in a live meeting if it's possible. Historically, in my career, we've done these at like quarterly planning meetings, and we've had the PM and the UX person just walk through the use case, walk through the wireframes, and 100% of the time, you're going to get a ton of feedback from all these external stakeholders, and you, again, going to avoid a lot of churn and end up with a better solution. So the best practices for high-level design, again, write the happy path use cases. Don't define those preconditions. Always start with a happy path or success scenario. You're just keeping it simple right now. Don't worry about all the exceptions at this point. You want to show progress moving forward and use generative AI to help you start and socialize those cases very broadly. The NI patterns here, jumping into detailed user stories, is absolutely no reason to do that at this point. Again, you're just setting yourself up for a lot of churn. You don't want to write these things in long prose. Use short sentences as you saw in the examples. You don't want to specify any UI controls, or you want to specify any engineering details as well. Leave the UX to the UX and leave the solution building to the engineers. So there's no reason in these happy path use case to say, hey, the user's going to go here, there's going to be a drop down. That's not the role of the product manager. Your job is to represent the customer and let the UX team do that. And then the same thing, you shouldn't be specifying that the database table or the criteria around the API. Leave that to the engineers. So at the end of this phase, you should have a high-level design in place. You should have had your use cases, your wireframes. You've had the team all review them. You've taken all that feedback. You've probably done one round of iteration, and now you've gone and gotten some high-level estimates around that as well. And now it's going to be a key input to your business case. And we're going to put together a business case in order to get approval. As always, greatly appreciate you joining me and watching these videos. Please like, subscribe, leave comments. All feedback is a gift, and look forward to seeing you in the next module.